It is lovely to have you back again for the third concert of Sunday Piano Classics. I look forward to your comments, and if you've any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, either directly here or after the concert.
Hello, also welcome from my side. My name is Peter. I'm assisting, as usual, Valentin with this broadcast, and I'm wishing you all a nice afternoon, nice concert.
Thank you, Peter. Since I last saw you all 2 weeks ago, we've moved a bit forward with the spring, and next weekend the clocks will go back. So the evenings will feel longer. I always enjoy that. I hope our first two pieces will both relax you and put a bit of a spring in your step as well. During the intro, you heard me play a bit of the first movement of the Haydn C major Sonata, which I played 4 weeks ago. In fact, that was the recording from that concert that you just heard. Now you can hear the rest of the sonata, the slow movement, and also the finale. Now, Haydn was really the original inventor of what we call the classical style, as opposed to classical music. But the classical style is really the music of Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. And when the Baroque era ended, Haydn had the brilliant idea of combining the French and Italian styles of music together. Now, French and Italian styles are important to this day, because if you want to put on, say, a fashion show, the two best places are still Paris and Milan, France and Italy. French and Italian styles have always dominated in Europe, and basically the rest of us are just barbarians. So Haydn wrote sonatas in the Italian style, but also included a movement borrowed from the French suite, a minuet. It added an element of playful elegance. In our sonata here, it is the finale, which is a minuet, and it gives the piece a lovely and stylish finish. you very much, Stefan. You play very well, actually, yourself. Hello, Katarina. And Shane, hello. From Taiwan, lovely. Sarah, Paul, Rochelle, lovely. It's really nice to see your comments. Ralph, hello. It's wonderful to welcome you all. Now we go on to the second part. Well, the classical style part of the concert is over. Now we turn our attention to the Romantic era, and we've got 4 composers: Schubert first, then Brahms, Rachmaninov, and of course Chopin. And today, most of the concert is taken up by Romantic music, and is very much a question of light and shade, as we also visit the darker side of Romanticism, especially when we get to Brahms and Rachmaninov. But there's also a bit of a darker side to this Schubert Impromptu you're hearing next. It all starts lovely and peaceful. We're following a meandering brook as it takes us through different landscapes. But when you are in the Austrian countryside, as you are here, the landscape can change dramatically. The middle section of this piece is passionate and fiery before our brook returns, just as it was in the beginning. At the end, things get really wild again, and the piece even ends in a minor key. Schubert was the first of the Romantic composers to end a piece that started in a major key in a minor key. I think this is an exciting piece to start our journey through Romantic music, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you, Julian. Bettina and Juno, lovely to see you. And Rachel, thank you.
Valentin, sorry to interrupt you, but could you please revisit your echo cancellation setting? I'm not sure.
Is there a problem perhaps? Yeah. Yeah, there might be. Let's check. Yeah, no, I have, it's not there. I'm set to stereo audio.
Then maybe Heidelberg is today a bit cloudy.
Oh, is there, maybe, is it possible the sound is a bit too, the volume is too high? Sorry about that, we just have a little bit of a technical issue perhaps.
I don't think that's a reason. Just
okay.
Maybe it's just on my side, sorry for that.
Okay, fine. Don't worry, if there are issues with the sound, the technical side of it is actually quite complicated, so it's all happening in the background, but it's, of course, we try to give you the best possible sound, but we are, of course, on the internet and we are the live streaming. Thank you very much, Stefan, for that, and Glenda, that's really nice. I actually, when I finished this, I actually hit my left hand on the wall here because I kind of finished with a bit of a flourish. It's, yes, I wish I was in a concert hall, but you make me feel as if I am, so that's lovely. Our next piece, the Brahms Rhapsody, carries on exactly where Schubert left off. In fact, the last two notes of the Schubert were D and E flat when I played these chords. This D and E flat, and that's exactly how the Brahms begins, with those D and E flats, but an octave lower, and of course it's a very different piece. Now, we travel even further into what I would call the dark heart of romantic music. This is a typically Nordic piece, and you could hear this actually as a soundtrack to something like The Lord of the Rings or The Game of Thrones. It is passionate, wild and mysterious. The piece also has an interesting secret. Now, normally a piece of music begins in a key such as C major, or in this case G minor. And you would hear that key at the beginning of the piece. Even if you don't know which key it is, you would get a feel of the main harmony, what we call the key. Now, Brahms doesn't do that at all in this piece. Instead, he completely avoids G minor and takes you on this dark journey past, I think they're armed Vikings preparing for battle or something like that. Definitely we're in a very dark place a lot of the time. And when we finally arrive at G minor in the middle of the piece, we find ourselves in some kind of underground cavern haunted by Nordic gods or something like that. Escaping from that will not be so easy. Thank you, Kani. Suman, yes. I think we need a bit of sunlight after this Brahms, and it's slightly strange that we would find it in Rachmaninov. Now, Stravinsky, his fellow composer, called him a 6-foot scowl, and apparently he was never seen to be smiling. Oh, thank you, Paul, for that comment. Lovely. But yes, the sun seems to be shining in this G major prelude. Well, for most of it anyway, by Rachmaninoff's standards. It was Rachmaninoff's favorite prelude among the 24 preludes he wrote. He had first actually reached fame with a prelude in C sharp minor, and that became an absolute hit, and he was forced to play it everywhere. But this was actually his favorite prelude, the next one you're hearing in G major. He played it for the first time in Moscow as an encore after he had played his third piano concerto for the first time there. He then followed it with a G sharp minor prelude, which is more dramatic and has a beautiful melody in the bass in the left hand. You could imagine this being played by a cello. With this G sharp minor one, we're back to the darker side of romantic music, and we meet one of its most important elements, the Russian soul.
Hello from my side. As every Sunday, short intermezzo, also to give Valentin a short rest before he starts last block from Chopin, which is already a tradition. Just to introduce to you the next recital, which will take place on Sunday, 4th of April, same time, 3:30 afternoon London time, 4:30 Central European time, with this interesting program. We have this week, a little bit late, published an introduction about the Chopin Raindrop Prelude, which you will hear next, but as a separate video. And the same is the plan for the program of Sunday, 4th of April. So we will pick one or two pieces and make a separate video with a little bit longer introduction. Would be very nice if you look at the one we did, the one we will be doing, and if you share with us your opinion, your feedback, how you like it. That's everything from my side. Thank you very much for attending today, and please stay tuned, subscribe at Facebook and YouTube, and of course feel free to forward these invitations, these links to your friends. I received a question this week whether this is allowed or appreciated. Of course, we are very happy if you invite your friends, if you recommend us and share these events with your community so that this platform and its audience is growing. Thank you very much, and back over to you, Valentin.
Now we just have two Chopin preludes first. The first one, of course, is the famous Raindrop Prelude, and it's one of Chopin's most famous pieces. Chopin was staying in Mallorca during the winter together with his girlfriend, the famous novelist Georges Sand. You can see a photo there actually next to Chopin's portrait. She was, as I said, a very famous novelist, and she was the one who came up with the idea that there were raindrops in this piece. This refers to the repeated A flat you first hear in the bass, this note here, and later on they become the top notes in the middle section. But to Chopin, this piece represented something much more sinister. At the beginning of his stay in Mallorca, it had been sunny and beautiful, just as it is at the beginning of the prelude. Unfortunately, he then fell very seriously ill and escaped death by a whisker. He was clearly suffering from what we would now call post-traumatic stress disorder, and I would say this piece was a form of therapy. He wrote it after they had moved to an abandoned monastery, where it started to rain heavily and it also became very cold. This actually happens in the middle section of the piece, where the atmosphere suddenly turns gloomy and medieval. You can hear the dead monks of the abandoned monastery where Chopin was staying. You can hear them rising from their graves, and there are even trumpets suddenly announcing Judgment Day. This is then followed by a chorus of the penitent pleading for forgiveness and trying to grab their last chance of salvation, but of course to no avail. This vision suddenly fades away and we're back to the beginning. At the end of the piece, these repeating A flats, which are the heartbeat of the whole piece, they do slow down, and we're not quite sure whether Chopin has fallen asleep or also actually died. If we had any doubts about it, they're swept away by the next piece, the prelude in B flat minor. Here the furies of hell are unleashed and carry him off to a terrible end. Thank you very much, Eric. Need to catch my breath after this one. I've just escaped from hell there. Oh, Marcus, hello. Thank you, Juno. That's very nice to see your comment. Yes, I think it makes more sense if you know the background to the Raindrop Prelude, definitely. Now, I couldn't just abandon you in hell there at the end of the B flat minor prelude, so we're turning the A flat of the Raindrop Prelude into something very elegant with this waltz in A flat major. Chopin was probably at his happiest when he wrote this piece. He had made a real success of his new life in Paris. He found a lovely circle of friends and was a feted guest in the most lavish homes of Paris. Really, what would you want more? And you can hear it all in this waltz.
Valentin. So we are at the end of the regular part, and I understand it's all received very positively from what I can see in the comments. So what have you prepared as an encore? Because this is a tradition, so I'm sure
Yes.
something is planned.
Oh, I think I will play a Chopin Nocturne, actually, one of his most famous, the one in E flat, Op.9 No.2. Thank you all very much. It's lovely to see you all and to see your comments. I will study them in more detail after the concert. Oh, vielen Dank, Katharina, Michelle, Ross, Imogen earlier. Thank you very much. Isa, very nice. Jackie, Paul. Oh, Nancy. Yes. Peter. Oh, thank you. Erton, hello. Sarah. Oh. Thank you so much. Shane. Thank you. Shane. Back to Taiwan. Many greetings.
Yeah, we are at the end here. Thank you very much to everybody for attending, and just maybe one comment at the end. We had always like 80% of the views after the recording, so please share also this link to your friends. Obviously, it's very much appreciated, especially due to the time zones, the different time zones of our audience. Have a nice Sunday afternoon from my side, and see you soon. Bye.
Very much. Thank you all very much, and see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.